Welcome everyone. We've just found this female leopard and she's taking a drink. I just need to help some other vehicles get into the sighting. Affirmative, I'm live. Make your way here. And isn't this absolutely awesome? Now, I'm guessing that this is Tundi, and we are hoping that she's going to take us back to her den, but I think she's just actually come from there. The direction she was moving in indicates that she's just gone back to the den to nurse herself. It appears our timing is off now. There's a whole bunch of squirrels alarm calling, and that's what got us excited about the prospects of finding her even before we saw her. You can possibly hear the chick, 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 chick. Let's actually show the squirrel quickly, since it's just halfway up this dead tree to the right there, just where my finger is there on that dead tree. Can you point it? Zoom in, just to where my finger was, right there. There we go. There's, bless you, Sens. Senzo's just had a sneeze, and there you can see the two squirrels that are alarm calling at the leopard. But let's go back to the leopard now that you've seen that. Bless you again, Senzo. Senzo's obviously allergic to cats. I didn't realize, Sens. Bless you again. Maybe third time lucky. Senzo's had an inopportune moment to get a sneezing attack. Better than falling out of a vehicle, though, or falling off, so be grateful. It's just that. Now, RJ, I am not entirely certain that this is Tundi, but I'm highly there's a high probability that it is her, just judging from the area that she's moved out of. Now, she has a den site about 100 meters behind us, and she's obviously just popped in there to nurse the little cub, and is now going to head off, probably in search of a meal. It probably means she had an unsuccessful day hunting. Now, what do we do here? It's so thick in there, and I'm tempted not to try and follow her through. Well, James Richards, can you believe it? You say that this is Shadow. And thank you very much for that. Now, literally the den sites, or at least the last known den sites, are only about 100 meters away here. So we're going to go and have a look down there a bit later, but let's try and stay with this leopard. Now, what may have happened, who knows? Is that maybe Tundi, Shadow's sister, took her to show her cub? It's highly unlikely, but strange things do happen out here. I just need to give Rex and the guy that's coming into the sighting a quick updates on her movements. There's too much traffic on the Game Drive radio, so I can't talk just yet. As I was about to chat, some other guys started chatting. Now she is going to pop out somewhere. Here she is, here at kind of 10 o'clock cents. So I just want to get ahead a little bit more. Oh, shoo, we got lucky. She just lay down. Let me reverse a tiny bit. Well, James Richards, thank you so much, and I'm astounded that this is in fact Shadow. Can you see her moving this? Perfect, well done. There you can see she's just taking some time to groom herself. Now I can give the guide an update on the Game Drive radio. Apparently this Muffazi Ingwe is Shadow, and she's now close to Twin Dams Road, between Ingwe Alley and Wahlbergs. Now the only... It's so tempting to go back to that den site. She's literally come straight from that area, and who knows where Tundi is. And what I'd also love to know is, have you guys, any of the viewers, had any sightings of Tundi and Shadow in the same kind of spot, and what happened between them? Because ordinarily female leopards will fight ferociously over territories. This is unique in that well, not unique, but a little bit different in that it's a new territory that's opened up, so maybe neither Shadow nor Tundi have got the full grip of who's the boss of the spot yet. Angela, you would like to know if this leopard is hurt, and yes, it is carrying a little bit of a limp. I think it's its front left leg that's got a bit of an issue, but apparently she's healed a lot since guys last saw her. I'm not too sure how long she has been injured for, what caused the injury, but the good news is that it appears that her limp is beginning to go away. Isn't it incredible how well she blends in there? Now, I'm guessing that she's just going to have a short little break while she does her pedicure, and once she's finished with that, I'm hoping she is going to get back up. Another vehicle gets you. I'm tempted to race back to the den and just see what's going on there, because I'm very, very surprised at the area she's come from. It could just be complete coincidence that she was in that area, but it's literally 100 meters away from where we initially saw her to that den site. That's why I falsely presumed that it was Tundi. But thank you for James Richards, and any of you who also may have noticed that it was in fact Shadow. Well, it appears like we are going to have a good afternoon, I think, with this leopardess. She does have a young female cub, this individual, and, well, sub-adult rather, and I don't think she's seen her the whole day, so she's been out and about and hunting, moving around quite large distances during the course of the day. Even though it's been fairly bright, sunny and warm, she's been trying to get herself a meal, but with no joy. If she had in fact made a meal, she'd be moving quite swiftly back towards her daughter to collect her and bring her to the kill. They usually try not to waste any time whilst doing that, because they're on the risk of other animals stealing their food. Can you believe how lucky we got? She lay down at the perfect time. If she had laid down a few seconds earlier, we would have had a lot of trouble relocating her in thick buck. Now, I don't think it's worth crashing through the bushes to get to her, so we're just going to stay put where we are. It's not going to really improve the visual drastically if we do go off-road, so I just think it's worth just waiting until she gets up and going again. Also, what's interesting is that she's only a few hundred meters away from the wild dogs and Tristan, so anything could happen with these two predators bumping into one another. Lisa, you'd like to know if there's any kind of possibility that this leopard Shadow and her sister Tundi have some kind of a fluid agreement with regards to this newly acquired or newly opened piece of territory. Lisa, it's a tricky one. I mean, anything is possible in nature. That I must start by saying, and I think every safari guide would cover his bases by starting by answering a question like that. So there's always random things that could happen. Oh, she's up and on the move now. Beautiful golden light on her coat. And I think it's unlikely that they're going to have a good relationship where they both share one another's territory. I do. I think they maybe will be possibly more tolerant of one another once they do bump into one another trespassing, but I think they're still going to enforce those rules. And I mean, there's even some quite big fights between young leopards and their mothers. Kind of uniquely friendly relationship. But maybe I'm wrong. I've hardly had any experience with situations like this with two sisters in one given spot. Just need to move a little bit further forward and then we should get a view of her. There we go. Might just be able to see her face poking out behind those green bushes there. There she is. Oh, let's just make sure she's got no scratches or cuts. Very slight limp. Doesn't look like she's been fighting with her sister, that's for certain. Golden light hits her. And she's quite fortunate. She's moving in a direction where through default she's going to be walking into the wind, which is really good. Whilst on the prowl like this, she is hungry, and if she does come across any possible prey, she is definitely going to try and sneak up on it. And the wind's definitely blowing from south to north, and she seems to be tending in a kind of southwesterly direction. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. Let's just give another update to this guy to tell him his best route access now that she's mobile again. Rex. She's crossed west over Twin Dams, about 50 meters north of Ingwe Alley, mobile east. Just come along Twin Dams if you're at Wahlberg's, and you should get our visual from the road north of Ingwe Alley. I'm just trying to get a decent kind of spot ahead of her, and I think she may well go up onto a little termite mound up ahead of us, which will make for some wonderful, wonderful scenes. I'm thinking we are going to get lucky. Let me get around quickly. Get ready for screenshots. Ginger, you would like to know what would happen if a shadow this leopard we're following now found her sister's young cub. It's impossible to know. If Thandi wasn't there, who knows? Maybe she would kill it. I mean, that would ordinarily happen if another female leopard found her. Rex, I've got your audio if you head west from there. Oh, she's... And slightly north, Rex. So, now, Sense, keep a close eye on this termite mound. She's going to go quite tight just to the left of that big bump where there's an open clearing. She could well pop her head right over there, and we'll get some great views of her as she does that. She was slowly coming in this direction. Go a bit tighter there, Sense. There we go. Look at that. It's my favorite thing when they poke their head around termite mounds, looking for any options. Absolutely awesome. Perfect afternoon light. It doesn't get much better than this. Ah, they are such cool animals. I have missed them dearly. And this is the first kind of decent time and afternoon that I've been able to spend with leopards since arriving back in the Sabi Sands. This morning was okay, but this is absolutely awesome. The area that she's taking us through is not too thick, so we're going to be able to loop ahead of her with ease. Perfect afternoon sunlight, and she's heading straight in front of our vehicle here. Beautiful. Now, I haven't seen anything up ahead for her to hunt, but like I said, it is quite thick. So there is there's generally quite a lot of impala that move through this area. Okay, let's reposition again. How cool was that when she poked her head around the termite mound? Lovely Laurie, you'd like at did it start? 3 o'clock, I think, South African time. And it's finishing at 6:30. So it's a 3.5 hour drive, I think. I don't have a clue. All I know is that I'm driving for 2.5 hours, Laurie, from 4 o'clock South African time to 6:30 in the evening. So it's the same it's been every afternoon for the last few weeks, if that helps you. And we do have 3 schools actually joining us in the next few minutes. Interestingly, they're joining us a little bit later than the schools usually do. The schools usually join us at the beginning of the drives, but not today. So everything is as normal, Laurie, if that helps. No changes. Okay, now there's a few holes here. Ooh, and a stump. There's a bit of spots I can go around there. I don't want to fall into a hole and then get shot out the seat like Tristan did this morning. If anyone's ever having a bad day or a bad mood, just keep the video of Tristan and Taylor on your phone and you can watch it and you'll be instantly cured. Now there's another big termite mound that I think she's heading towards, so I'm thinking of gambling to try and get around to it. Oh, we're gonna have to and I don't want to get in her way. Hold tight. So we're just going to have to squirrel our way through these thickets. Oh, I think we've got a little half gap. We're in luck. Yep. Oh, yeah, this is going to be another good one, Sens. Time will tell. Where is she going to poke her head up? I'm guessing it's going to be right over there. I think that's where she's going to poke her head up, but we do have a slight risk that she may go a little bit behind these branches. But pick an area, Sens, wherever you're feeling lucky, because she's about to come creeping up and over to get her next vantage point. Expect them to, but I'm guessing she is going to continue making her way up, judging by the view of the guests. It does look like she's about to come. Oh, there she is. Well done. I'm not watching the monitor, I was watching her. So she did pop up. Oh, here she comes to the right. Look at that. Beautiful. Well done, Sens. What a wonderful, wonderful scene this is. We couldn't be in a better spot with. Good grief. Can you see anything from up there, Shadow? Any snacks? Doesn't look like it. She's just enjoying this moment to catch her breath. Place we got of where she ended up at the end of the morning safari, combined with where we found her this evening. And she's had a busy day. Who knows how long she's spent crouching and stalking up to prey. That's also incredibly tiring. I love it when they perch up on the mounds like this. She was apparently up a tree today also for a while, so she's been up and down, in and about, all over the show. Now we are about to welcome the 3 different schools onto the safari with us. Let's hope she just stays still for a little bit longer so we can welcome them with this incredible scene. Now we may have a little bit of trouble looping ahead and staying with her as and when she starts moving again, but we'll take that in our stride. And of course we do still have Tristan and Taylor to assist. I'm guessing that Tristan's wild dogs are also going to get up and active soon, so if you've just joined the safari, there's lots of things to look forward to. Ah, perfect. Hello and welcome to the Port Tucketville Memorial School, the Marty Elementary School, as well as the South River School. It is the greatest pleasure to have you on this live safari. Please, can you guys send through? It's not just myself, Scott, who's out on safari this afternoon. You're also going to meet Tristan, who's also in South Africa, and then Taylor, who's in another vehicle 1,600 miles away from us, all the way up in Kenya. So we've got a lot of good prospects this afternoon. As you can see, we've found a leopard, and she's had a busy day. She's been looking for a meal. She's got a young sub-adult cub that's about a year old that she's also needing to get a meal for. And we've already got our first question through from Aidan. Great to have you with us, and thank you for the cheetah and the lion as well are very, very good at doing exactly what they're doing now, sleeping. They sleep for about 18 to 20 hours every single day, so twice as much as we sleep on average. And I don't think they get bored. They kind of get bothered by the flies, like you can see it's getting bothered by the flies now. That's what shook its head. And they've got quite busy lives. It's not as easy for them to catch their food as we think it is, so they just get a wonderful spot with this leopardess. She's just up there on the termite mound, and isn't it fascinating how relaxed she is with our presence? We probably only about 10 meters from her, and she hasn't even opened an eyelid as we got into the spot. And normally leopards will be very, very shy and elusive, so this is only because they've had a lot of time spent with them with vehicles that's made them get used to the fact that we are not going to be a threat to them. Hello to Austin. You would like to know, how often will leopards climb trees? And it all depends on the individual leopard. Some of them like to climb more than others, and a lot of wild animals are just like us, Austin. They each have their own personality. Some of them will not only climb trees more than others, but some of them will be clever enough to actually hoist their kills up into the limbs of the trees, and that way safeguard them against animals like hyena and lion, who are not good climbers. So it all depends. I know she was up a tree earlier today, but we haven't seen her go up one. And Austin, the tricky things with these animals, even though she is very relaxed with our presence, there's no way of always being with her. So a lot of things happen with these animals that we actually don't know about. Especially when you think of how many hours there are in a day and how many hours we're out every day. There's a lot that happens without us around. So who knows, hopefully she'll go up a tree later for us. Cammy, you'd like to know, why do leopards have black spots? Well, I guess it's difficult to know exactly why they've got black spots, but it definitely does work very, very well with their camouflage. And you'll realize it's not just the black spots, but once we take a little bit of a closer look a little bit later, we'll notice, hopefully when she's standing up, we'll notice that there's a kind of a black ring, and then in the center of that black ring there's a caramel dark brown color. So it's that dark black plus a little bit of brown plus their lighter pale coat, which helps them to blend in so well with their surroundings. There you can see a few of those kind of dark caramel spots in and amongst those black edges. And the official term for a leopard's marking is a rosette, because it's not just spots like a cheetah. They've got those rosette shapes with the brown caramel centers. And in general, the best kind of camouflage doesn't necessarily have to just be the right color, but it's just the fact that you've got your outline broken up by lots of different colors. So when you stand in behind a bush or behind some grass, it helps break your body up into lots of different pieces. Whereas if you're just one uniform color, then the camouflage doesn't work as well. So I think it's fair to say that lion's camouflage, as a general rule, is not going to work well as cheetah and leopard because it doesn't break their body up as much. They are just one uniform color. Hello, Kaysen. You would like to know what are the predators of the leopards? Which animals are going to give these leopards a hard time? Well, other leopards are often their own worst enemy. Female leopards will fight with other female leopards to try and get the best possible territory. And male leopards will do the same with male leopards. They'll also fight over land. And not only that, even male leopards will kill the cubs of a leopard that they are not the father of. And that happens quite often. So they've got a lot of trouble with their own kind, just like us as humans. Even though we are all the same species, sometimes humans from different countries fight with one another. And I guess it's the same with the leopards. And it's not just their own kind that they have to be careful of. Lions are definitely capable of killing leopards, and they will. They'll also kill cheetah, and lions and leopards will both kill cheetah. So cheetah are the weakest out of the three big cats of Africa. All attack one another as and when they can, but usually the lions are the most dominant. And then, of course, hyena can also cause trouble from time to time. They are also opportunistic, and they will also hurt and kill other meat-eating animals to eliminate the competition. Have you spotted anything there, or are you just having a look around, Shadow? I think she's just having a look around. She's going to have a good night for hunting tonight with this windy weather, because it's going to help break up her noise, and when she tries to get closer to her prey, they are going to have a hard time hearing and seeing her with all the bushes blowing and wind rustling. Ali, you would like to know how many spots does a leopard have? Well, let's count how many are on her paw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's call it 15 on the paw. And the paw is a very small part of the body. So let's say the paw is only, what should we say, 1% of the body size of the leopard, the full surface area. No, let's give it a bit more than that. Let's call it 2% of the full surface area of the leopard. So if 2% of her body has 15 spots, then her whole body must have 50 times 2% to get 100%. So 50 times 15 is 750 spots. Between 750 and 1,000, I would guess. Then there's other areas, Ali, like on her head. Let's take a closer look at her head, where there's hundreds of tiny little spots. Even a few just above her whisker marks there. So, I would say at least 1,000 spots. Just like us as humans, each leopard will look slightly different to the next, and some will be bigger, others will be smaller, some will have more spots, some will have less spots. It's impossible to know exactly. It's also impossible to know when she's going to wake up, but I'm hoping she wakes up soon. Before the end of the safari, hopefully we'll get to see her stalking some animals, showing us how stealthy she is. Justin, you would like to know how long will leopards sleep for every day? Well, they're not like us as humans. We tend to have a lot of routine. Oh, good signs that she's getting up. And go to bed at the same time at night, roughly, and wake up at the same time in the morning. But leopards and a lot of wild animals live a very different life, because they don't know when things are going to happen, when opportunities for food are going to present themselves. So they don't necessarily sleep for 9 full hours like we do, or 8 hours like we do at night. They may take little cat naps during the day, 1 hour here, 2 hours there. They may spend one day very busy looking for a meal, and then once they've made their meal, they can just sleep next to it, eating when they want, and stay snacking on an animal like an impala for 3 full days. So, on average, though, they need about 8. Depend on the leopard and the conditions it is up against. Alexis, you would like to know what is the most favorite part of my job? Well, it's sharing magical moments like this with all of you guys. And definitely one of my most exciting things is when you guys are on the back with us and we can hear some alarm calls of animals that have seen a predator. The monkeys make a noise like this. And if you hear that noise and you rush into that area, there's a strong chance you may actually find a leopard. So I love doing things like that and finding the animal with you. Sometimes we go for many hours and many drives without finding leopards, tirelessly searching for them, following their tracks on the sandy roads. So we have got very, very lucky. Babies, and it's hard for us as humans to understand, Kason, but basically how it works is that if a male leopard is big and strong and dominant, he will own a certain patch of land, and within that land he may have about 4 or 5 girlfriends. So if he has those girlfriends and then he mates with them, he will do his best to protect them and make sure that no other males come into their house, you could say, or their garden. So if he's successful in doing that and he's a big strong male and he chases all the other smaller males away, that means that he's doing a good job making sure his cubs are getting access to the biggest, strongest father in the area. If he is not big and strong anymore and other young, big, strong males come in, then those males will kill the cubs so that the old male's girlfriends will be free, so that the new strong males can be the ones that protect the cubs. So it's for a good reason, but it's obviously very sad when one leopard has to lose her cubs in order to have a better father, basically look after the next batch. But it is the way that nature works, and it is the way nature just makes sure that only the strongest animals and the fittest animals survive. Animals don't have as much feelings as we do, so we can feel very sorry for anyone that's in a disabled situation, but in nature that's not really allowed. There's no doctors to help keep them alive, so only the strongest and fittest will survive. For now though, she's not showing us how fit and strong she is she? She's showing us how well she can sleep. Amari, you would like to know if a leopard is the same thing as a cat. Well, it's a good question, actually, because you get lots of animals that are part of the same family. So your domestic cats that a lot of you guys will have as pets at home will be part of the cat family, and so will the leopard and the lion and the cheetah and lots of other different cats like mountain lions, jaguars, tigers. They are all part of the cat family, but they have got different kind of subspecies. So I guess you could maybe think of it as different races of cats, if that makes sense. Just like us, we have some people that live in Greece and they've usually got dark skin, and then you've got other people who live in Norway who usually are a little bit more pale in coloration due to the fact that they don't have too much sun there. And just like there's different kind of types of humans on the planet, you also get different types of cats and different sized cats and different shaped cats. So yes, leopards are very, very similar to your house cats in lots of ways, and they are parts of the same big family. Just like the wild dogs you've seen with Tristan a bit earlier, they are part of the dog family, so they are very distantly related to any of you who may have a Labrador or a Jack Russell at home. Come on, Shadow, wake up. Hello, Diana. You would like to know how do we tell which leopard is which? And to be honest, with difficulty. A lot of them look very, very similar, and I don't consider myself good at telling them apart. Oh, you see, as soon as the wind picked up, she even got a little bit nervous. Possibly something could have been creeping up to her, and she just wanted to make sure. Well done, Shadow. Don't take any chances like Tristan did this morning. And you guys, I'm not sure if Tristan's explained to you, but you've got to ask him when you jump back on his vehicle what happened to him this morning, and maybe he'll be able to play you a little. I think has ever happened to any of us that work for Safari Live. And basically, though, if you wanting to tell the difference, each leopard has its very own unique spot pattern. So if we look above her whiskers now, you'll see she's got 2 little spots above what is her right muzzle. Was that 3? And then her other side has a few more. So already those are a few distinguishing differences. She looks like she's got 3 or 4 spots on the left side of her nose and just 2 on the right. Anything to see up ahead there, Shadow? It doesn't look like that. Her body language is looking quite relaxed, but I think she is going to start thinking about getting up and looking for a meal. It's slowly getting darker and darker. The sun slowly dipped behind some clouds to the west, and once she does have the cover of darkness, I think it is then that she is going to continue trying to get her. Definitely looking hungry, and she's definitely had nothing to eat today. Justin, you'd like to know, how do the leopards get their names? Well, usually how it works, Justin, is that all of the guides who work in the area that the leopard is, once the leopard moves away from its mother, which means it's an adult, that is usually when the leopard will be named. So at the moment, this leopard has got a 1-year-old female, and we just call her Shadow's cub. And until such points as Shadow's cub starts looking after herself and Shadow gives birth to new cubs, that is when she will get her name, and it'll be a kind of a joint vote between all of the guides in the area that the leopard spends time before we work out who shall name it. Very good. Well, as we wait patiently for Shadow to hopefully get up and take us on a little bit of a walk for the last few minutes, you'll be glad to know that Tristan has made it back to some other big cats. I did once drive into a tree, but before I tell you about that story, it's very important that I just warn you that at any moment this leopard could be running for its life. There's a pack of wild dogs, the same ones that you're looking at with Tristan a little bit earlier. They've woken up and they are moving in this general direction. Now, it's hard to say exactly far away they are at the moment, but thankfully she's alert, she's looking around, and oh, that looks good. It looks like she's even thinking about getting back on the move. Good move, Shadow, because wild dogs can be quite nasty, and I think it'll be better that you are on the move, getting out of this area. It's not to say that they won't catch up with her. They move very quickly, the wild dogs. They're usually trotting once they get going. I'm sure you guys have been having fun with Tristan and the lions, as well as those impala alarm calls. Like I said a bit earlier, it's one of my most exciting things, responding to animals alarm calling at other predators. Very good. Basically, I must tell you about my tree, though, quickly. What happened was that I was looking for a bird somewhere, and it was kind of like behind us, so I was looking and driving forward, trying to get an angle of the bird behind some leaves, and then all of a sudden, ka-tonk, we hit a tree. But we weren't moving too quickly, so it wasn't nearly as dramatic as Tristan falling out of his car. Okay, well, it sounds like Tristan is back in a good spot with those lions. We're going to race ahead of this leopard and try and get you a few more views of her before the end of the safari. Why don't you go and see if those lions have got their heads up?